All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we've got a lot going on, as you can see in the garage behind me. I've got the Neon and the Viper out of here and the Challenger's on the ground because finally we're getting ready to put the dash back into the Challenger and get the car back on the road with its all new, freshly restored dash with its brand new Dakota Digital RTX gauges. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Those are for the next couple of weeks videos on Tuesdays, talking about how we're going to finish putting that dash back together and getting everything wired up and configured for the Dakota Digital gauges. So of course, if you want to be informed on those, stick around for the next couple of weeks and we'll go through step by step how we did each of those. But today's video, we want to talk about the typical rust you can find in these classic e-body Mopars. So for those of you that are looking to purchase one, that whether it's a done car or a project car, I want to give you a little bit of an insight on what you should be looking out for when you're inspecting these cars to see if they have any rust. So when I go through this list, you're going to think that, well, there's nothing on this car that doesn't rust. Well, to an extent, any car, every part of it's going to be prone to rust if it sees bad enough weather, but these are going to be the most problematic areas and something you definitely want to check out. So for starters, on all of these cars, the window channels, front and rear, water tends to collect in there and just sit, and of course that causes it to rust. Pretty much every one of them that I've had of the 6, the bottom window channels have at least some form of corrosion, some worse than others, and so it's definitely something you want to inspect. Of course, on a finished car, it's a little harder to do because the current owner probably doesn't want you taking trim off of their car to inspect it for corrosion. But on project cars, it's something you can easily do. The rear trim pops right off, and then the front trim that you need to remove, it removes with a couple of screws. So it's really simple to do. Now, from here, another area that's really prone for rust in these cars are the floorboards. Whether it be the front floorboards or the trunk pan, they are all prone to getting rust in them. I've had to do floorboard replacements on practically every single one of the e-bodies that I've owned. This is also something you want to inspect on a car that you're buying that's done. If you can get the car up in the air, look underneath it to see if there was any patchwork done, or if any floorboards have been replaced, if they were replaced well, or if they were just a hack job. These are things you just want to go and be aware of and check out. Now from here, going towards the exterior sheet metal, the quarter panels are prone to rust both in front of the wheel and behind the rear wheel. It's just another area where things can debris and water can just accumulate and sit and just rot them from the inside out. And you can really tell on some cars they'll be rusted completely through and missing, like currently on my 74 Barracuda project, or they can start to be bubbling through, and you can definitely tell that the rust is starting to pop up through there. So now moving on into the engine compartment, there are a couple of areas to check for in here for corrosion. On the firewall, right down in the middle, the cowl area, it has a drain that comes through from the top that goes right down into the middle, and that center section has a tendency to corrode as well. And so you just want to take a quick look at there and see if there's any issues with that. And then another area on the driver's inner fender underneath the battery tray is prone to corrosion due to having battery acid leaking from the batteries and things like that. And plus, with having the battery tray bolted directly to that inner fender, it's got a place for stuff to just build up and corrode. So those are really the biggest areas to be concerned about for checking for rust. Of course, if you've got a car, you've got a situation with like rot in the frame rails, you can expect that you're going to be needing to do a lot of work on those cars because the frame rails, of course, are some of the thickest gauge metal on these cars, and if that part of the car has rust in it, you've probably got a ton more metal work to do on the car. But they are a place that you can check to see if there has been repair work done, whether people put caps on, replace the complete frame rail, make new frame rails. It's not super common to have frame rails rust, but cars like out of the south and the east where you get a lot of bad weather and the cars are like parked in fields on the ground, you can start developing rot in those areas as well. But it's like I said, it's not as common to have that happen, but I've seen enough people out there doing repair work on frame rails from rot that it does occur. Fortunately, I've never had to deal with it with any of the projects that I've done. It's only been the areas that I mentioned out in the rest of this video, whether it be floorboards, quarter panels, and of course with the quarter panels goes the trunk extension panels that meet up with them, things of that nature, and then occasionally the trunk gutters in the corners. Water can stand there as well sometimes, and debris and build up and rot there. I've only had one of the e-bodies that I've done had to have the trunk gutters replaced, and the rest of them have all been rock solid. So those are my thoughts on your most common areas for rust on these cars to be looking out for when you're going to purchase, whether it's be a project car or a finished car. One other thing on a finished car or one that just has a vinyl top on it, you want to go ahead and feel the vinyl top to see if there's any bubbling going on, because if there's bubbling going on, there's definitely rust underneath there that you're going to have to deal with as well. Vinyl top cars, unfortunately, are more prone to rust in the roof than the others because of that extra layer of material on the top that can just absorb water. And so definitely go ahead on a vinyl top car, feel around and see if you can feel any bubbles that are starting to pop up, or if it's bad enough you can see the bubbles sticking through. And so that's everything for today's video. I hope you found this information useful as always. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button, give us the thumbs up. It helps me out tremendously with that YouTube algorithm. And of course, you want to be kept up to date with all my future uploads, like getting this dash back together and getting the Challenger back on the road. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below and ring that notification bell as well, so that way YouTube will keep you up to date of all the videos I do in the future. And as always, I've been including links in the description below for the vlogging equipment that I'm using, as well as the detailing products that I use. So if you have any interest in any of those, clicking on those links helps the channel out, and I definitely appreciate it. And as always, guys, I will see you the next video.